In the world of pirates, there are three main types of devil fruits: Zoan, Paramecia, and Logia. However, in today's video, we will focus on the Logia fruits. They are the rarest and most powerful of the three types. Want to find out the strongest? Stay tuned to find out. And if you haven't already watched One Piece, we highly recommend you do so. First, we'll start with Pika Pika no Mi. Kizaru's devil fruit has shown a few weaknesses. As light as a human, Kizaru can use light beams to avoid attacks and travel over long distances by reflecting himself wherever he wants to go. His many victories throughout the series shows that combining his devil fruit skills with his battle skills is a lethal mix. The light element is better than dark because it has no clear type disadvantages. The only problem with the fruit is that darkness swallows up light. So any fight with the Yami Yami no Mi would kill Kizaru and force him to fight with more strategy and less with his devil fruit. Yami Yami no Mi. The Yami Yami no Mi is at the top of this list. It is a devil fruit that can use black holes to cancel out every other Logia user or devil fruit user. Blackbeard, a pirate who wanted to be the best, used the fruit well since its elemental powers depended on consuming others and making them powerless. Blackbeard can also get rid of the power he uses up. This is easy to do after using darkness to draw people to him. This is the best Logia devil fruit because it has no elemental weakness and can beat any of the other Logia fruits on this list. Considering that Blackbeard is already a very strong fighter and has another devil fruit to use, it's clear that his devil fruit gives the Emperor very few chances to attack. Pasa Pasa no Mi. The One Piece series has been made into a lot of different things. Even though manga and anime are the most well-known, the different One Piece games have added many interesting things. Big Secret Treasure of the Seven Phantom Islands, a 2002 game that was only for the Game Boy Advance. It showed fans an interesting Logia ability and user. This Logia fruit lets the person who uses it change, make, and control pieces of paper. This seems boring initially, but it can be used in interesting ways. Fire is the Pasa Pasa no Mi's biggest weakness, which makes sense. So even though it's creative, it's not even close to being one of the best Logia devil fruit abilities. Numa Numa no Mi. Caribou's devil fruit is unique because it's less of a typical element. It uses swamp control. Even though it is a great way to trap someone, it's also one of the fruit's biggest weaknesses, since Caribou couldn't change out of his swamp human form when he was in a closed container. Water manipulators may also be able to take control of the fruit, and Caribou may be able to do so to some extent. Aside from trapping, it hasn't shown much offensive skills. This fruit is at the bottom because it has many problems and not so many good points. Mag Mag no Mi fruit. The Mag Mag fruit's attack is one of the strongest in the whole series, which is why Akaino could punch through Ace even though he was a flame man. The person who eats the fruit can turn and make magma whenever they want, and it's not just magma in name. It can easily melt an iceberg and boil seawater because of how hot it gets. Like other Logia devil fruits, when the Mag Mag fruit user is in magma form, they can't be hurt by attacks that don't have Haki in them. Not only that, but the heat of the magma is hot enough to melt swords and burn an attacker's body, making it a powerful spear and shield. 8 more Logia types are left. Trust me, you do not want to miss a single one, even a little bit. Yuki Yuki no Mi. Monet's devil fruit is the weakest of any other one with a cold affinity because she is more vulnerable to heat and can't freeze targets. Rather, the fruit's main abilities are to change the weather and use this to stay hidden. This makes Monet less impressive when you remember that Nami, who doesn't use a devil fruit, can also change the weather without one. Even though Monet isn't as good at using her skills, which might be because she hasn't been in as many battles, this fruit isn't as good as the others. But her ability to make people unconscious by lowering their body temperature is still pretty powerful. Moku Moku no Mi. Putting aside Smoker's skill with his fruit, the main selling point of the Moku Moku no Mi is that it can make the user invisible, which most Logia type users can also do. Even though Smoker has turned his smoke to trap enemies, there are easy ways to escape it. Also, regarding elemental compatibility, Smoker has been cancelled out by fire, leading to ties against Ace and later Sabo, and hasn't shown any advantages over other elements. Even though Smoker knows a lot about it, it doesn't stand out from the other Logia devil fruits because of this. Gasu Gasu no Mi. When you look at the two gas-powered Logia fruits, the Gasu Gasu no Mi is better because it also gives you poison. Caesar Clown made a lot of fake devil fruits, and he can't use his power to make explosions, control other gases, and get into places that most people can't. Still, the fruit's powers can be set on fire, which makes it weaker than the devil fruits that are based on fire and can be used against him. Caesar's skills also have limits, like the size of the area they can affect and the fact that he needs help from outside sources. Mori Mori no Mi. Admiral Greenbull, who made his first real appearance in the series at the end of the Wano Country arc, has eaten the Mori Mori no Mi. At first, it might not seem like much that the devil fruit gives the Greenbull full control over all kinds of plants. But the Admiral has learned how to make the most of the power of the devil fruit. By making roots, Greenbull can drain water from other living things' bodies and make it completely unable to move. His attacks are quite big, and he could easily beat the Scabbards and the Momonosuke with his power. Fire is the devil fruit's biggest weakness, but Greenbull has been able to fix this by making its body fireproof over time. Greenbull's body is still vulnerable to powerful fire-based attacks like the Momonosuke's version of Boro Breath, even though he tries his best to protect it. Sunasuna no Mi. Even though Sunasuna no Mi has good points, it loses points because water or liquid can break them. Water is a weakness for all devil fruit users, but it is especially bad for Crocodile because he can't control his sand when it gets wet. It should be noted though that this devil fruit's ability to make you dehydrated is unique among Logia types and gives Crocodile a great way to deal with his biggest weakness. Not only that, but the fruit can be used in many different ways, like making sandstorms and quicksand traps, while working better in and out of battle. Maramara no Mi. The Maramara no Mi is a devil fruit shared by two brothers who are both well-liked by fans. It is a fruit that can counter many Logia fruits with fire, but smoke and ice do not affect it. The fruit gives the powerful flame-based attacks that are both big and fast, and gives physical attacks more power. This fruit is lower on the list because it's not as good as magma. Even though it can handle many other elements, it can't handle magma, which other Logia users can. This keeps it from being seen as more powerful. If you could choose any devil fruit, what would it be and why? Let us know in the comments down below. Goro Goro no Mi. Once thought to be invincible, Enel's devil fruit has powerful abilities that give the user control over lightning and a maximum voltage output close to that of natural lightning bolt. Enel can use lightning to make powerful attacks, but he can also control solid matter, use electrical sound waves to sense his surroundings, speed up, make his heart beat faster, and electrocute people. Even though it's weak to rubber, which makes it weaker than the strongest fruits, this weakness is very specific. This fruit would destroy anyone Enel faces when it isn't Luffy, the captain of one of the strongest pirate crews, or covered in rubber. But its non-Logia weakness can't be ignored in the end. Hia Hia no Mi. Other Logia users use their skills to avoid attacks, but Kuzan, who used to be Admiral Aokiji, uses the Hia Hia no Mi to take them out. As a solid element, Kuzan can freeze his enemies by touching them. He can also use solid ice projectiles and weapons to reach further distances. But the ice is not permanent and can be broken. And while it's better than the Yuki Yuki no Mi, it doesn't have any elemental advantages over any of the others. Heat-based users can even outpower some of its effects. It's unclear how well it works against magma because it can melt and fight for 10 days straight. Would you want the Hia Hia no Mi fruit?